of people outside. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have thousands of people outside. They're trying to get in. They're slowly coming in. What about starting in about an hour from now? No? No way, right? Let's go. They'll get in. They'll hear the end of the speech, I guess. I just want to thank everybody. It's been amazing. And for the folks across the river, I'll tell you what. Omaha, right? Whoa. 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 You know, I wasn't sure if I should mention. I mean, you know, I'm here for the Iowa stuff. And I said, well, I tell you what, I was greeted backstage from a lot of people from Omaha. I think I should mention. Good. Yeah, good. Well, I just want to thank everybody. It's been really exciting. It's been an amazing thing. I even brought my Bible, the Evangelicals, okay? We love the Evangelicals. And we're polling so well. This Bible was given to me. I won't tell you the year because it'll start saying, wow, that's a long time ago, right? But this was given to me by my mother when I was very young, going to Sunday school, and that's my mother's writing. It says, to Donald Trump, this is Donald Trump's Bible. That's pretty cool, right? So we love the Bible. It's the best. We love the art of the deal, but the Bible is far, far, far superior, right? Yes. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you being here, and it's been an amazing run. It's been an amazing run. We've started on June 16th, and everyone said, he'll never run, he'll never run. You know, he won't run. These genius pundits, right? You know that. And the pundits, but we started on June 16th, the famous escalator ride, coming down with Melania, and there was so much press. And it takes courage to run. You know, when you run for president, it takes courage, especially like I'm not a politician, thank goodness. All talk, no action. All talk, no action. Somebody had to do it. Our country is a mess. We have to straighten it out. And we'll straighten it out. We're going to straighten it out. And we can't go another 4 years, and we certainly can't go another 8 years. We got to straighten it out. We got to do it right now. We owe $19 trillion. $19 trillion. You know, the word trillion, I mean, 10 years ago, did you ever hear the word trillion? We owe $19 trillion. And now these politicians, and I'm talking both sides, they approved that budget the other day. It was a disgrace. That was a total disgrace. And we're going to change things, folks. And we're going to do it, and we're going to do it right. And we're going to be proud of our country again. Right now, we're embarrassed by the people that we send to Washington. And a lot of them, you know, we know where the Democrats are coming from. But we send a lot of the Republicans, and I give them money, and you give them support, and everybody, they go to Washington, they want to do the job, then they get in there, and they vote, let's fund Obamacare. Let's fund Syrians coming in. Who the hell knows who they are? Who knows where they come from? Let's fund them. You saw that the other day. Everything Obama wanted, he got. And he got it like in one day. It was done so fast. If you didn't read the paper that day, you wouldn't even read about it. It was just done like lightning fast. And I say, how does this happen? And somehow these people, they go to Washington, and they're not the same. They campaign, and everything's fine, and you're excited about them. And then they go there, and they just become a regular cog, and they raise their hand, yes, yes, yes. I think they probably feel it's good. They don't have to leave. But they're going to get voted out. People are tired of it. I tell you what, they're tired of it. You know, everywhere I go, it's packed like this. Like, again, outside, thousands of people trying to get in. Every place I go, it's like this. We have the biggest audience by far. Nobody close on either side, by far. And we have, I mean, it's not even a contest. And we had 20,000 in Dallas. We had 35,000 in Mobile, Alabama, 20,000 in Oklahoma. And the only thing that stops us is the size of these arenas. If they were bigger, we'd have more. There's a movement going on which is totally beautiful. It's totally beautiful. People want to see borders. They want to see proper health care, not health care that goes up. Did you see what's going on with your Obamacare stuff? 25, 35, 45% increases. And the deductibles are so high, you're never going to be able to use it anyway. Hopefully you don't need it. But the deductibles are so high, you're never going to be, it's like worthless. You're never going to be able to use it unless you get run over by a tractor made in Japan, a Komatsu. Okay, no, because Caterpillar's got a lot of problems. Japan, as you know, they devalued their currency to such a point. I tell the story. My friend's an excavator. He went out, he bought all Komatsu equipment. He's always bought Caterpillar. And you look at what's happened to Caterpillar stock and all. I mean, I could have predicted it. And this story goes back a year, but he said, I bought Komatsu. And he felt very, very badly because he's always bought Caterpillar. He said, they devalued their currency to such an extent. I owed it to my wife, to my family, to my company, to my employees. I just made this great deal. I said, how's the equipment? He said, it's good. It's not as good as Caterpillar. It's good. And he said, I felt very badly doing it. But that's what's happening. China's doing it big league. But we'll talk about a few of these things tonight. And, I have to do this. And everyone says, why do you talk so much about the polls? I say, because I'm winning, No, I mean, right? One of the candidates who's like a 2 said, he's always talking about polls. Well, if I was a 2, I wouldn't be talking about polls, right? So, it was sort of funny. So we had the debate a couple of weeks ago, and so far, they have online polls. Drudge, who's a fantastic guy, by the way, Drudge. We love Drudge. He's great. He loves the country, I want to tell you, but he's done an amazing job. So you have Drudge, and you have Time Magazine, and you have Slate, and you have all these big PBS, and I guess there were 10 or 11 of them. I won every one online, the online polls, who won the debate, right? And I brought that. They just had it done, and I brought it. Drudge, 46%. Now, you got to remember, it's 46% with, 15 people? Another one dropped out today, by the way. You heard that, right? Somebody else dropped out. But there's not much to split up because he was at 0. No, I always say, let's see, he dropped out, he's got 3. How many of the 3 can we get, the 3%? When they drop out at 0, you just say, let's go on to the next, right? But you have Drudge at 46. You have Time Magazine, 49. This is with all these people on the stage. I mean, one of them's at 58, one of them's at 69. I mean, I'd take 69 with 2 people, let alone 14 and 15 people. But you have Time Magazine at 49. You have Slate at 51. You have U.S. News and World Report, big one. 69% said I won the debate. We're not even into the regular polls yet, folks. PBS, right? PBS, I know nothing about PBS. I do know they're on the liberal side, right? Trump, 69%. No, think of it. I never debated before, okay? I never did that before. I created jobs and I built things and I do lots of good work. I never debated before. And then they have the Washington Times, very good newspaper, 62%. CBS Philadelphia, 59%. Fox 5 Las Vegas, 62%. I mean, right after one, and then you go and you turn on the television and you watch these guys like George Will, who's a total, and guys like Karl Rove that don't have a clue. He still thinks Romney won, No, he does. He goes around saying, I think Romney won. And you have, Krauthammer treats me terribly. He's slightly better than he used to be, slightly, like about 2%. He's sort of like, well, but they treat me terribly. And you see all these polls, and these are online polls. These are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people calling in right after the debate. And you see it, and it's almost like they don't want to use these polls on television because they say, well, we don't consider them, I consider them much more accurate than when you do like 300 people, okay? I think they're good. They think that I'm sitting at the thing typing out hundreds of thousands so I win a poll. It's not worth it, believe me. When you see the cost come in at the end of the month on your phone bill, it's not worth it. But it's been amazing. And then you go back and you turn on television because the press is so dishonest. It's look at all of them. No, it's true. It's true. They never scanned the room. I was in Dallas. We had a stadium, and where the Mavericks play. Place was packed, Texas, good place. We're leading in Texas. We're leading in Texas. We're leading in Florida. We're leading all over. But I was in Dallas, and Mark Cuban called, and he said, we could make it available. And it was Thursday when he called. I said, Thursday, when's it available? Monday. I said, how do you fill up? How many seats do you have? Like 20,000. Within like a day, we had 20,000 people, and we showed. And my wife, I went home. I thought I did a good job. Everybody was very happy. They all left. And I go home. My wife said, were there many people? I said, what, many people? It was a stadium. He said, no, they kept the camera on your face. They never, ever show the crowds, okay? They never, ever show the crowds. No, it's incredible. It's really incredible. They won't, look, they don't turn the cameras. Even when the only time they turn the cameras is when we have a protester. If somebody stands up and says a couple of things, the cameras immediately go and turn. It's the only time they don't do it. It's really terrible. It's really terrible. Last night I was watching one of the, newscasts, one of the socialist newscasts, and they stood up. And they said, 3,000 people is like a small crowd for me. And they said, Bernie Sanders, it was incredible. They go, Bernie Sanders had 3,000 people. When I have 20,000 people, they don't say anything. In Oklahoma, I had 20,000 people standing in a park, and nobody knows how many people. Nobody. They never showed the park. Never. But this guy has 3,000 people. And by the way, he's sinking fast, Sanders. He's really going down. No, he's a communist. He's a forget about socialists. I think he's a communist. He wants to bring your taxes up to 90%. No, think of it. The guy wants to bring your taxes up to, whatever, and give some people free. But, he's paying for it, folks. You're paying for it. Lots of luck. Enjoy yourselves, okay? But he's literally, people are talking about a 90% tax rate. Who would be happy paying 90% in taxes? Not too many people. No, it's terrible. But it was really interesting because I said, and Bernie Sanders tonight had 3,000 people. That's like the smallest crowd that I could possibly have. And it's really disgusting. So the press, I just want to say, folks, they are so dishonest. Now, with that, Reuters, good outfit, Reuters, they just came out a little while ago. Trump, now this is the poll. This is no longer the debate stuff. Now we get into the big stuff, right? Trump, 39.1. Think of it. Second place was Cruz, 13. And Rubio was 11. No, think of it. They don't report that on television. They never put it on. They never put it on. Now, I have to tell you, because the Iowa polls are, amazing, because it's so ridiculous. So, CNN, I know, and I love you, too. Nice guy. He's a guy, and I love him, okay? Am I allowed to love him? I love him. So, CNN came out last week with a poll. 36, Cruz 16, Carson 14, Rubio 12, Christie 4, Bush 3. Can you imagine Bush? He spent, think of this, $59 million, 59, and he's at 3. You know what? See this woman in the front row? Very attractive woman. You would be at 7, and you wouldn't have spent anything, okay? Still. For nothing. For nothing. It's crazy. So they came out, and no, it's amazing. Do you see the ads he's doing every time I turn? It's an ad about me. Now, I killed him in the debate. I got 67. He got 1. He came in last in the. But here's what his ad is. He's lecturing me, which he did. They're showing him in the debate, and I'm standing there waiting to answer. And do you remember my answer? I said, Jeb, I've got 42. You've got 2. You started out right here next to me, and now you're going to be falling off the dais, and you won't even be there next time. Okay? No. It's true. That was one of my answers. That wasn't even my best answer. So everybody thought, but they said he was great. Wasn't he brave? He actually spoke to Mr. Trump, and he said that. Wasn't he brave? Oh, he's going to do great with Putin. He's going to do great. I like that Putin called me brilliant. I'll be totally honest. I like it. Hey, maybe he's kidding. I don't know. But I think it's great that he called me that. And I think it's great if Russia and the United States can actually get together. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. You have some of these clowns that over Syria, they want to start World War III. And, then they say, Trump's tone is very harsh. My tone's harsh. They're cutting off heads of Christians. Think of it. And Bush said, and Hillary said, almost the same day, Hillary said, his tone is extremely nasty. My tone. We need a nasty tone. I'll bet we need a nasty tone. No, think of it. I'm suffering where my tone is nasty. And even with the people, we throw them out. The first time some guy, he was a really rough guy, he's throwing fists, he's shouting, bad guy. So the security, which is fantastic, it wasn't even my security, it was the convention center. Uh-oh, here they come. Look at these photographers. Oh, I can't stand them. I can't. And then they go out and they sell the pictures and they make a lot of money. That's all right. Shoot all you want. Who cares? Right? You know, let them shoot. Why aren't you back there with everybody else? So we have a situation where we're going to do things, and they're saying they've never been done before. I have a call from one of the truly most respected journalists, and he's not on our side of the table from the standpoint he's on the liberal side, to put it mildly, okay? But he's a respected guy. We can respect them too a little bit, right? Not too much. But he called up, and he said, how does it feel? I said, how does what feel? And I don't really know him, met him once. How does it feel? What you've done has never been done before in the history of politics. And I said, what have I done? He said, what you've done, you've changed the whole dialogue. He had a whole nice thing, you know, whole beautiful. You changed the dialogue, you made this, you did that. He said, it's never been done before. I said, let me just tell you something. It doesn't feel anything. Because unless we win, I couldn't care less. And he said, it's really true. It's really true. All matter. He said, no. Even if you don't win, you've really achieved something very, very special. It's incredible, and the whole world is talking about it. CNN said the event of the year. NBC, can you imagine NBC, said the #1 political event, Trump. They had ISIS #2. ISIS 2, and I'm 1. I think ISIS should be #1 because we got to blow them away. I want them to be #1 so we can blow them away. No, we got to blow them away. ISIS was 2. Think of it. ISIS is 2, Trump is 1. I'd actually rather have it the other way because it's going to make us look better when we take care of them. But he said, how does it feel? So then I said to him, look, you know, I appreciate you saying that. It makes me feel good. He said, even if you don't win, what you've done is incredible. I said, no, you're wrong. If I don't win, I would never have done it again. I would wish I didn't waste my time because to me it would have been a big, fat, beautiful waste of time. And I really mean that. I really, really mean that. And they may be talking about it, and if we go and other people win and somebody else gets in, they'll never be able to do what we can do. It's really we. I don't even talk about me because this group of people, whether it's Dallas and whether it's Mobile, Alabama, whether it's Oklahoma, whether it's New Hampshire where the crowds are incredible. Same thing, I just left. I mean, I was in New Hampshire last night. It was an incredible evening. Whether it's South Carolina where we're doing great, North Carolina we're doing great. Nevada, a poll just came in Nevada. It's incredible. I mean, I'm leading with Hispanics, who I love. I employ thousands and thousands of Hispanics. Thousands. I'm leading with African Americans like you wouldn't believe, and I always said that. I mean, I have so many great friends. I'm leading with African Americans. And actually, another poll came out. I'll let you guys read it for yourselves. I don't know if they'll ever report it, but a big one talked about how well I'm doing with African Americans, with Hispanics. I mean, it was like incredible numbers. One of the commentators said, if these numbers are true, they might as well not even hold the election. Trump wins. I'm telling you, we're going to do. And we're going to do great with crossover from Democrats, because you have a lot of Democrats. Look, you have some very good, fine people. They want to see our country succeed. They want to see us be successful. We're going to have tremendous crossover from Democrats. They're going to cross over. They don't want Hillary with the scandals and all of the things. Who wants another 4 years like that? And you know what? One of the magazines said recently, Donald Trump is a world-class businessman, built a great business, and I did. I did my file. That was the other thing. They say, well, maybe he's not as big as people think, so maybe he'll never file, after I announce. First they said I won't announce. Then they said he'll never file Form A, where basically you sign your life away. And I did that. They said, ooh, this is bad. This is not good. You know, these are the pundits that get paid X dollars for sitting there, these great geniuses that don't have a clue. Believe me. Everybody in this room knows more about politics than they do. Everybody. So then they said, well, he announced, he signed his life away, did Form A. Now, well, maybe he'll never file his financials, because my company is massive, right? So, and they said, well, and if he does, he'll ask for delays, and, you know, you're allowed, like, huge extensions into eternity. So you have 30 days. My financials are almost 100 pages long. Most of them are one page. You know, these guys, one page. They're asking for extensions, politicians, one page. They got nothing. They got nothing. They got nothing on them. They can't report the money they stole, so they don't put that on. It's true. No, it's true. It's true. Only the really stupid ones put that down. Some of them probably do it. No, they can't report cash. They can't report green. So anyway, so they have nothing on it. And they said, and they asked for extensions. We had a couple that asked for extensions. And everyone said I was going to ask for extensions. I didn't. I did it, not only did I not, you're given 30 days, and you could have 45-day extensions. I did it before the 30 days. And I had accountants working overtime, almost 100 pages. And it turned out the numbers are much, much bigger and better than anyone knew because I'm a private company. So I own Bank of America building, a big chunk of that. I own so many great things, all the stuff in there. And I built a great company. And they all said, wow, you had to see. They say the office down in Washington, federal elections, was like the reporters were going crazy. All of these people back there were there, I guess, right? They were going crazy. They were all lined up because they wanted to see if Trump was really good. And they found out Trump's really, really good. Those numbers were, you didn't hear a thing about it, right? Can you imagine if those numbers weren't good? It would have been front page story all over. Those numbers were so good and so much better than anybody anticipated. In fact, so good that if I didn't run, I would have filed anyway, because I want to brag about how good a company I am. It's true. I would have filed anyway. No, I was going to file anyway, because I'll tell you what, until I made that final decision to run, I didn't know. You know, it's really, as I said, it's really a big decision, especially if you're a non-politician. You know, the politicians, they run, they win, they lose, they run. That's all they do is they run. They debate, nobody cares. But with me, it was like a big thing. I mean, it was big. Plus, I gave up a lot. Plus, I'm self-funding. I'm putting up my money. I'm putting up my money. I've had so many people come up to me and say, and it was very interesting because something happened in Iowa that was interesting, but they've come up to me and said, we want to give you $5 million, and especially when you're number one in the polls by a lot. They want, I mean, these people are coming up, and it's against my grain to turn down money. My whole life has been, I take it. I've been very greedy, you know. But now I'm going to be greedy for the United States. I mean, I don't care about my company. No, I want to be greedy for the United States. But it's hard for me. In fact, okay, so about 4 months ago, I was in Iowa with a group similar to this, great group of people. And I said to them, look, I feel really a little bit foolish, even stupid, like our leaders. And they all said, why? And I said, because so much money is being offered to me, and I keep turning it down. And they applauded. They said, great. I said, let me make a deal with you. Let me take millions and millions of dollars, right? Let me take the money, and I promise you I will not be influenced. I promise you. This is to an Iowa group like 4 months ago. And they stood up. They were booing. Boo, no, don't take. Because they know when you take that money, those people own you. And if it's not, and I'm not even talking in a legal sense, but what they do is they actually own you. You feel morally, you know. And I tell the story all the time about Ford, how they know it's not a good deal for the country. Ford's building a $2.5 billion plant in Mexico. Nabisco now is moving its plant to Mexico. That's why I say Mexico's making so much money. You have to see the trade deficit we have with Mexico. You have to see what we have with China, $500 billion a year with China. Who the hell wants a partner like that? You know, we rebuilt China. We rebuilt China. Japan with the cars, billions and billions and billions of dollars a year. Nobody even knows. They don't even know. They could put out these numbers, $87 billion a year. They have no idea. I mean, they have no idea. It's worse than that. Believe me, if they put it out, it's worse. So when you look at like a Ford, so they're building a plant, $2.5 billion. You know what a $2.5 billion one? That's like a building like this that's massive. But when you spend $2.5 billion on a plant, that's a big plant, right? So you know all the places that are closing down. In all fairness, mostly in Michigan, where they close places down. In Tennessee, they were going to build a big foreign car company. We were going to build a plant. They were all set to sign, and you know they announced we're not going to go there. We're going to go to Mexico. Mexico is becoming the car capital of the world. You better be careful. Mexico is really doing a number on us, both at the border. And I love Mexico, and I love the Mexican people. So many, I told you, work for me. But their leaders are so much smarter. They're so much more cunning than ours. They're so much more cunning. They're just smarter. And they're not controlled by the kind of people that we have that are around the seams. So what happens is, let's say a Hillary gets in. She's raised millions and millions of dollars. She's doing fundraisers. She's begging people for money, right? And the people that put up millions of dollars, a guy gives her $5 million, and he's a lobbyist, or he's a special interest, and he wants Ford to be there. So she's a smart person. So she says, no, 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 it's bad for a country. We're closing up other plants. Bad. By the way, they make the cars, and then they bring them over, no tax, no nothing. We get nothing. I went to Wharton, right? We get nothing. You don't have to go to Wharton. You can go to high school. You don't have to go to high school. We get nothing. We get nothing. We're led by stupid people, folks. We're led by stupid people. Stupid people, believe me. So we get nothing. So she could say, or a guy like Jeb. By the way, who would you rather have negotiating? Trump or Jeb? Let's go. Jeb. Trump. Trust me. Trust me. It will not be close. It will not. So you have a case, and they come in, and they know it's bad because we're losing our jobs, we're closing the factories. So Hillary or Jeb or one of these people, any one of them, every single one of them is taking in a lot of money. They're all going around for fundraising. Every time you call them, where are they? Oh, they're raising money. I'm not doing that. I'm working. I'm running a company while I'm doing this stuff. Can you believe it? I'm running a company. Although I must say, I'm giving it over to Ivanka and Don and Eric and my executives because I'm actually having more fun. I couldn't care less about my company. Somebody said, well, do you have a conflict? I said, I couldn't care less about it. But this is so much bigger in terms of importance, in terms of a life. Who the hell cares about, honestly, really? Does that make sense to people? Who the hell cares about a company? The company's fine. It's making a frickin' fortune, right? No, it's making a lot of money. And it's fine. And Ivanka is great. Does everyone know Ivanka? So Don and Eric, Ivanka, they'll all run it. And I have great executives. I won't care. I won't even care about it. Because I want to take care of China. I want to bring them back. I want to take care of all of these countries that are ripping us so badly. And it would be so much fun for me. And it's not even the fun. Oh, it's so much fun. It's like sport, right? It's like sport. And you know what? They'll like us better. China doesn't like us. Look what they're doing in the South China Sea. They're building a massive island in the middle of the waters. Hey, by the way, you know, we couldn't do that. You know why? We could never get an environmental impact statement approved. I jokingly said to a friend of mine from China, and I have great relationships with China. They gave me millions and millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars, and much more than that, for apartments. I have the largest bank in the world from China is a tenant of mine in one of my buildings. I mean, the largest in the world. They're great. They're fine. But you talk about leaders being smart. What they do to their currency, they just gave the largest devaluation in 2 decades. You know what that is? 2 decades, 20 years. And nobody thought they were going to be able to do it again. They're taking our business. And I say to people, it's the single greatest theft in the history of the world, what China has done to the United States. They're taking our jobs. They're taking our money. They're taking our base. They're destroying what we have. You look. Now, Mexico's a smaller example of it, but it's, you know, happening there. And so many other places. Now you have people leaving. You have companies like Pfizer. You have companies leaving the United States. Thousands, tens of thousands of jobs, ultimately millions of jobs. They're leaving because they can't get their money back in. There's trillions of dollars offshore that they want to bring in. Everybody agrees they should do it. The Democrats and the Republicans, they all agree. They can't make a deal. It's been like that for 3 years. So what's happening is companies are leaving because they get better treatment, they get better tax treatment, and they can get their money. They can't get the money in. Who would say no? Can't? They make money outside of the country. They want to bring it in, and we tax them so much that nobody brings it in, so it's not a question of that. We get nothing. And what we do is you lower the tax, get the money in, and let them spend the money in our country. Everybody agrees they can't make a deal because we have a president that doesn't work hard, and he's not persuasive other than to get some votes. He's just not persuasive. You've got to get these guys in a room. You've got to make a deal because this is trillions of dollars we're talking about. And now it's called corporate inversion. I don't know how many people know. It's an interesting word, but it's corporate inversion. They just leave. These other candidates don't even know what the terms mean. They're never going to do anything about it. They're never, ever going to do anything about it. So we have so much to do. We have not a lot of time. You know, we're sitting on a bubble. It's a really dangerous bubble. And we've had bubbles before. You know, the early 90s, that was a big, fat, ugly bubble. You remember the tech problems and all of the other problems? I mean, I think we're going to put it to shame. And I must tell you, if it's going to pop, I want it to pop before I take office rather than after, because I want to fix it as opposed to, they'll blame me. I'll be in office for 2 days, the bubble pops, and all of a sudden, oh, Trump did a bad job. Obama won't be blamed. I don't want that to happen. Let it happen in his term. But I'll tell you what, we have tremendous problems, and we're going to solve those problems, and we can solve those problems. But we have to bring sanity back to government. I know the greatest business people in the world. I know them. They're friends, they're enemies. I know them. I don't care if they're an enemy, if they're good. But I know them. Some are horrible, horrible human beings. They are. They're terrible. You wouldn't want to have dinner with them. You would throw up all over the place if you had to have dinner with them. I'm telling you, some are horrible people. Who cares? Who cares? I don't care. Some are wonderful people. Not too many, to be honest with you. They're very rich. They don't want money. They don't want their salary. They call me all the time. The biggest guys in the world. Donald, I'd like to straighten out. I know a lot about Japan. I'd like to equalize with Japan. Meaning, Japan sends us millions of cars. We give them nothing. We give them nothing. You're a little bit involved. Some beef, right? And half the time they send the beef back. Right? Look, he's taking, they send it back. It's not good enough. Well, you know what happens? It goes back and forth. After about 6 months, they take it, right? They call it Kobe beef, and they charge you 10 times more for it because it's aged. It's aged. That's what happens. That's what happens. But seriously, I mean, these people want to, they call me the biggest people, the best people. And I know the best. I know some that are overrated. I know some that nobody ever heard of. They're better than all of them. Carl Icahn's a great guy, big, powerful business guy. He called me. He endorsed me. A tremendous guy. He wants to get involved. Like, if I take Carl Icahn, I say, Carl, we have such a trade imbalance. We have such a deficit with China. Do me a favor. Work it out. Trust yourselves, folks. It's going to be just fine. It'll be just fine. It'll be just fine. And he's great, and I have others. They're great. And you just give each one a country, let them have fun. I mean, they'll make a great deal. They're making deals. We're dying. We're dying, folks. We can't lose the kind of money that we're losing. But we're losing our factories. We're losing everything. We're going to have nothing left. And you know it better than I know Newton, Iowa, where I helped the people in Newton, Iowa. I saw it probably 4 or 5 years ago. Anybody from Newton? Good. Am I true? Did I help you guys out? Look, I mean, she doesn't even know who the hell I am, but she said you did help. No, but Newton and other places, so many businesses are going to other locations where they're given incentives to leave the country. I mean, essentially, they're given incentives to leave. We have to stop it. And we have to get our great people. You know, if you look at places like China and Vietnam, which is our new threat, I mean, that's going to be another tough one. But if you look at these places, they put these really tough, smart people in charge. These are people that sort of came up through bump. They didn't come up because they gave a political contribution. You know, we put donors in charge. I tell the story, Carolyn Kennedy. I mean, has anyone heard the story? Anybody? Right? It's incredible. A few people. Can I tell it again? Do you mind? And she's a very nice person. I say that because my daughter Ivanka says she's a very nice person. Okay, so she's nice because I love Ivanka. Ivanka's great, right? By the way, Ivanka would be pretty good in this position, I want to tell you. So, Carolyn Kennedy, she's on 60 Minutes because she's the ambassador to Japan. That's a very important position, especially with regard to trade. So they said, how did it happen? Well, I went to the White House and I said, I have nothing to do. I'd love a job. They said, well, would you like to be the ambassador to Japan? She goes, what? Really? Really? She couldn't believe it. She has no experience at this. And then they have Abe, who's the head of Japan. He's a very smart guy, best they've had in 50 years probably. And they show 60 Minutes. I was on 60 Minutes too. Did anyone see the 60 Minutes? You know who I was on with? Putin, right? That's why. I mean, boom. We had the same night. We got very high ratings. 60 Minutes really likes Putin and they like Trump, right? But you know, it was very interesting. So they show Carolyn, and she's being wined and dined. They're having state dinners they're treating her so good, and she's all happy. We don't need state dinners. My killers don't want to have state dinners. They want to get the hell back home. They want to make great deals. And they're whining and dining her. And I just see it because I'm so good at this stuff. It's so easy. And she's just ready to, whatever you want. I just love. She was so happy. But here's somebody, she's not supposed to be in that position, in all fairness. She's not trying. She might be a nice person. She probably is. But she's not going to make a deal, especially when I watched the whole thing, so ceremonial. And if you go out, you'll find, actually, somebody went out and checked these people. And they wanted to see if I was fairly accurate in my description, because they said you were like almost perfect. She couldn't believe she was getting the position. And these are the people. We put donors in. We put special interests in. We put lobbyists in. And if we don't put them in, we do whatever they want us to do. So when they go to Hillary Clinton on Ford, right, she'll say, no, it's a bad deal. Listen, Madam President, can you imagine? Oh. Believe me, women, if it's got to be a woman, which I'm all in favor of someday, it shouldn't be Hillary. It shouldn't be Hillary. It shouldn't be Hillary. It really shouldn't be. But, you know, they'd say, Madam President, we really have to remember that these people helped you out. Well, but it's not a good deal for America. Well, he gave you $5 million, and he represents Ford, or he represents Nabisco, or he represents whoever it is. Oh, boy, well, that's, okay, I'll do it. Boom, deal's done. With me, okay? They come see me. They say, President Trump, this is not right. No. They say this is, first of all, I have business instinct, okay? You know, and a lot of these people don't even know if it's a good deal. They have no clue. They probably think it's wonderful to lose $505 billion a year with China, isn't it? When they call him our partner, our great partner, okay? Yeah, I'll make him a partner, but we're going to be equal partners. We're not going to be stupid partners. So what happens is they'll come to me, and they'll call me, and I know a lot of these guys. They haven't given me anything because I won't accept anything. And they'll call, they say, you know, lobbyist for Ford or special interests or stockholder or something. They'll say, you know, President, you have to do this. I mean, I say, what's good about it? They move a plant, they close factories, you don't have any Americans working there, then you bring the stuff back. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Because I don't know him. I mean, it's like over. I wouldn't even let him come in. I don't want to waste my time with it. I'm not going to be playing golf. I like golf. You know what? Obama goes out for close to 3 weeks to play golf. He's played more golf than members of the PGA Tour. It's true. Think of it. I'm going to be in the White House. You're in the White House. It's a limited period of time. It's this gorgeous place. Yes, smaller than some of my houses, but these are minor details. No. It's a gorgeous, like, it's the White House. It's so important. Who wants to leave the White House? You're going to be there for a limited, and you have to work. You have to work. There's no work going on. How the hell do you leave for 3 weeks to play golf? And you know the carbon footprint, right? Carbon footprint. Obama says that our single biggest threat is global warming. Not ISIS, not China, not Russia, not North Korea, where we have a maniac with nuclear weapons. You notice he's got nuclear weapons. Nobody talks to him. Iran, worst deal I've ever seen negotiated, by the way. But Iran, at least they don't have them yet. They'll have them shortly because they'll take some of the $150 billion. We don't even get our prisoners back, right? And then they have the right to self-inspect. So, I mean, the deals. So here we go. So they're going to come to me and they're going to say, Mr. President, really, you should do. I say, out, you know, I like you very much. Get out of my office. Forget it. It's over. It's over. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. The head of Ford's going to call, and he's going to make a plea, and I'm going to be extremely respectful because I respect the head of Ford. He's done a great job. For him, he's done a great job. For the company, and I respect that. But we can't let it happen because they're killing us. And he's going to say, Mr. President, you know, we want to move to Mexico. We're going to move the plant. It's going to be wonderful for the United States. I'll say, oh, really? Give me one reason why. He won't be able to answer that question, believe me. And I'm going to say, look, I'm not going to put up with it. And here's what's going to happen. If you move your plant to Mexico, you're going to close plants in Michigan and other places. I am going to charge you a 35% tax every time you make something and bring it into this country. Every single time. Whether it's a car, whether it's a truck, or whether it's parts. Every single time. Because we get nothing out of these deals. You look at NAFTA, you look at those companies. I left New Hampshire, you go up to New England, you look at those buildings that are just emptied out where people move to other places, in particular, in this case, Mexico. It's like unbelievable what happens. It's unbelievable. So I would say that they will call me within 24 hours. If they're really, really tough, they'll wait a little longer. They'll put in a second call. I'll say, no, thank you. They will call within 48 hours, and they'll say, Mr. President, we've decided to build our plants in the United States. Okay? That's what's going to happen. So, let me give you odds. I say 100%, okay? No, I say 100. I mean, unless they're on a suicide mission, it's 100%. It's not like, oh, gee, let's think about it. They'll probably make a couple of little calls. I'll be called by a couple of other guys. They'll hire some very expensive people in Washington who I couldn't care less about. Many of these people I've hired, I know them, okay? Look, who is better at this game than me? I got the old post office on Pennsylvania Avenue in the Obama administration. Who the hell is better at this stuff than me? Okay? Nobody. Nobody. I'm building a hotel where they have the old post office, the best site in Washington, D.C., and it's going to be great. But I got it in the Obama from the General Services Administration, who are very talented people and good people. And they wanted to see something great. And they did the right thing because we're going to do something great there. But we got it. I got it. I mean, I really know the game. And I know the good parts and the bad parts. I know the really ugly parts. And we're going to have people building factories and plants and things back here. We're going to stop the stupidity. We're going to stop with the incompetent leadership. We're going to stop with the donors getting jobs that in many cases, they own companies and they're negotiating for those companies and they're the ones that are representing us. It's insane. So I'm self-funding. And I have to tell you, when I was with that other group in Iowa, I said, you got to do me a favor. Let me take the money. They all stood up and they went crazy, negatively crazy, like even some booing. I don't hear too much booing. They hated the cunts. I said, but I promise I'll be loyal to the country. But they went crazy and they said no. And I realized then it's a big deal. And now I mentioned it in the speeches. I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people don't know that I'm self-funding. And it seems to be a much more important thing than it is. My people are very professional. And I do a lot of things that they don't agree with, but that's okay. They don't even mind because it ends up being right. Like illegal immigration, I came out. They were a little bit, boy, that was tough. Recently, I came out on the radical Islamic terrorists. We got to come out. We got to come out. And I took a week of hell, right? And then all of a sudden, you got to see television today. The most liberal people, they're saying, well, you know, Mr. Trump does have. I was going through crazy. Rush Limbaugh, who's an incredible guy, said, Donald Trump has received more incoming than any human being I've ever witnessed. And then he goes, has a press conference and doubles down instead of apologizes. People wanted me to apologize. And now I'm watching, and I'm seeing where they're saying, amazingly, they're saying, well, you know, Donald Trump has a point, and yeah, I have a point. I have a big point. So that's the story. We have to be smart. We don't necessarily have to be politically correct. I mean, if we can, that's fine. But we don't have time for it. I went to an Ivy League school. I can be more politically correct than any guy in Washington. Believe me, I'm smarter than they are. I can be more, no, think of it. And you know the other thing? You know, they always try and belittle. My crowds are the smartest people. My crowds are the smart. I know it. I know it. Look at the people. They like to say, well, you know, they're lower this, lower that. They're so disgusting. And we have the best people. We have the smartest people. You know, it's like one of those things. I know. And you know what? If my crowd wasn't, I'd tell you. I'd tell you it's okay. Nothing wrong. But we have the smartest people. We have the smartest crowds. And then they'll say they're older. They're not older. Look at all these kids. I got kids in. No, it's crazy. Look at them. What they're doing is trying to marginalize you. What they do, thank you, man. What they're doing is trying to marginalize. They're very, very disturbed because this is a movement. I'm telling you, this is not like a normal situation. When they call me and they say there's never been anything like this in the history of United States politics, they're not kidding around. They mean it. This is a movement, okay? This is people that we used to call the silent majority, but it's not really that good a term because you folks are noisy as hell. You're tired of it. It's like the noisy majority. You're tired of it. You're tired of it. So things are happening, and it's exciting, and it all starts with Iowa. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. You know who I'm talking to, Omaha. Sorry about that. I love you, Omaha. I love Nebraska. I love Nebraska. I love Nebraska. You know what? Nebraska can do us a big favor. Okay, Nebraska, you listening? Do us a big favor. Okay, good. Who's from Nebraska? Real fast. Wow. Wow, that's a lot of people. Okay, Nebraska, you do us a big favor. The fact is, Iowa comes first, right? You have a lot of friends. Even though they're from Iowa, you have a lot of friends in Iowa, right? You call every one of them on February 1st, and you make sure they get out and vote. Okay? And I'll tell you, for the folks from Iowa, I have to tell you, there's a big move on to push Iowa to the back of the pack. I don't know if you know that. You know, you have a great tradition here. And I've fallen in love with so many people. You're right. Whatever he said, he sounds... But there's a move on, thank you. There's a move on to move Iowa and, by the way, New Hampshire to the middle of the back of the pack. And I give you my word, I love the whole process. It's an incredible process, whether it's the caucus or the vote. There's a great history to this. There's an amazing feeling that you have when you come to Iowa. It's important, and it makes you important, to be honest. I mean, think of it. If you were the 25th state or the 50th state or the 40th state, they want to move you to the back of the pack. I give you my word that I win. You're not moving anywhere. You're staying right where you are. You're staying right at the beginning. I'm telling you. Nobody even knows why they want to do it, but there's a big move. You can ask your political people, but there's a big move on, and you're staying where you are, so you can just count on it. I just want to, before I get and finish off, I had to give you the rest because I'm so happy about this. I love it. I love it. I love it. Monmouth poll, very respected. Trump, 41, second place, 14. National poll. Not bad, right? Fox, 39 Trump, second place, 16. Listen to this one. Respected poll, Morning Consult. Trump, 40, second place, 9. You don't hear this. They don't tell you this on television. And believe me, if I'm wrong, it's a headline tomorrow, so I have to be telling the truth. ABC, Washington Post, right? I mean, no control over either, trust me. They don't like me at all. They don't like me at all. Trump, it's too bad. Trump, 38. Second place, 15. 38. PPP, that's public policy polling. I'm winning there. Monmouth poll, 41-14. I mean, the whole thing, it goes on, but I have to do this because we love Iowa. Come on. Ready? Iowa. You ready for these polls? Listen. Iowa. Yeah. CNN. Okay, is that good? Yeah, CNN. Good, right? Yeah, good. I like them. When they give me a good poll, I like them. When they give me a bad poll, I don't. Okay. But listen to this poll. And this is in Iowa. I'm at 33. Second is Cruz at 20. You don't hear that, right? No, you don't hear it. You don't hear it. It's a crazy deal. You don't hear it. Nobody talks about it. They don't talk about it because the poll's so good, they don't want to talk about it. I think it would be very easy for me to tell these guys, yeah, if I came in second, I'd be very happy. Because I feel confident. I mean, second, I think, great. But I should even say, if I come in the top 4, be very happy, that way, if I come number 2, they'll say, oh, well, he overperformed. I don't want to say that. I want to win Iowa. I really want to win Iowa. And again, the Evangelicals, the Tea Party, we're doing unbelievable. I mean, we're doing unbelievably. And I think we're going to win Iowa. So I'm really trying to, I'm going to be here for that last couple of weeks. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here so much. You're going to get so sick of me. You're going to say, this guy, please get him out of here. Get him out of Iowa. We can't stand him anymore, but I'm going to be here anyway because we have to win. Okay? So the other polls likewise have us doing either very close or winning in Iowa. And I think you're really going to see something that's going to be, it's going to surprise people. I may be wrong. And again, I'm setting myself up because they'll show these words. If I come in second by 2 points, they'll say, oh, this was a terrible defeat. It's not terrible. I just want to win. I know so many people here. I love the people of Iowa. They have the same values I have, and I want to win it. So we're going to give it our best, okay? And just remember this. Just remember this. You got to remember, in all fairness, to the best of my knowledge, not too many evangelicals come out of Cuba, okay? Just remember that, okay? Just remember. In all fairness, here we are. Just remember that, folks. When you're casting your ballot, remember, I have a lot of support from amazing people. Franklin Graham said incredible things about me the other day. We have so many pastors and so many ministers in favor, and it's just very important to me. Okay, so that's enough for the polls. Now, when I first started this journey, and this is very important, I was talking about trade. I was talking about Mexico and borders, and I was talking about border security, which is so important. It turned out to be very important. I tell you what, if I didn't mention that during my opening, where you talk about getting hit, I was hit for 2-3 weeks. I couldn't believe it. I said, am I going to have to go like this for 6 months? Even I said, I don't know if I can take it. Oh, really? He says, uh-oh, I didn't know you could do it. Don't worry, I'll take it. But what happened is after 2 or 3 weeks, people started saying I'm right. Just like with the radical Islam, just like what was going on there. I mean, we got to get to the bottom of it. Well, here, all of a sudden they said, you know, you're right, there's tremendous. Then you had Kate in San Francisco killed. You had Jamil, an unbelievable young man whose father, I think, is one of the greatest guys. Jamil Shaw, going to be a quarterback, was applying to Stanford and great schools, great athlete, student, wonderful guy, was coming home and an illegal immigrant came, shot him right through the head. Just right through it, for no reason. And his father's waiting for him to bring a sandwich from the deli. And they just shot him, just for no reason. They were told, shoot him. They wanted to kill people. They wanted to kill people. That's what happened. They wanted to, wasn't supposed to be here. You had the woman in California 2 months ago. She was a veteran, 66-year-old veteran. She was raped, sodomized, and killed by an illegal immigrant, okay? Now, I'm not even talking about the economy, because the economy is being hurt by it. We're losing a lot of jobs by it. And we can bring people in terms of the grapes and all, because I know all the answers. I know all the questions. I know the answers. And you're going to have some people that, in all fairness, they can't get workers. And we're going to make it. You come in, you got to come in legally. We know all about that. But we have to do something. And my whole thing was about border security and trade. And you all heard it. And Obamacare, we're going to repeal it. We're going to replace it. We are. We are. And I'd speak. And by the way, I don't use teleprompters, right? You see a teleprompter? Unless it's a very good one that's invisible, there's no teleprompter. And I'm not reading a speech. Look, here are my notes. That's my notes for my speech, okay? This is from the heart. I'll tell you, honestly, it's from the heart. A friend of mine said to me, he's a very successful guy, unbelievably. I was speaking in front of 21,000 people. He said, where are you speaking tonight? I said, so-and-so. He said, how many people? Like, I said, I don't know, over 20,000. He said, what are you going to say? Have you prepared your remarks? And then he went and he watched and he couldn't believe it. He said, man, he could never do that. I said, you know what? There's so much love. I really mean this. There's so much love in these rooms. And it's the same here. You're interchangeable with all of the others. There's love. There's love. These are incredible people in our country. That's what I've learned. They're incredible, and they're really, really smart. Because when phony reporters write phony stuff, it's like, it almost helps me. How many times did they write these false stories, and everybody said, oh, that's the end of Trump. And my polls go up. They call me, sir, I'd like to tell you, you just went up 6 points. I said, I did, right? Because I'm telling the truth. And sometimes when you tell the truth, you're hurting yourself politically. But I tell the truth. And we have to tell the truth. We can't play games anymore. We can't play games anymore. But I said to my friend, I said, there's such love in the room. There really is. That it's like easy to do. It's not hard for me. And I have a good memory and all that stuff, like a great memory. You know what you're going to say. But it's not that. It's easy because there's love in all of these places. Whether it's here, whether it's like last night in New Hampshire, it was love in that room. I go to New Hampshire, I go to South Carolina, I go to Virginia, I go to Nevada. There's love. It's all like, it's like a big love fest. We're in love with our country. You know what? We're in love. It's really true. I don't know if you, and I'm saying this very seriously. We're in love with our country. We see we're smart. We're in love with our country, and we all have the same thing in mind. And every once in a while, I'll have like a heckler, and they'll take him out of the room, and I'll sometimes be rough, and they'll say he was too rough the next day, or sometimes I'll be really nice, please don't hurt him, and they'll say he was very weak. I go, what's wrong? Can't win, right? You saw that. I had one guy who was brutal, and they said, oh, he was so terrible, Trump. He was so nasty and rough. And the next day, I was so nice to some guy who was not nearly as bad, but he was just a heckler, and I was so nice, and they said, well, Trump was very weak in his comments about that. You can't win. I mean, you can't win. But it is true. And I say, I could take some of those hecklers. Now, some of them are on drugs and or alcohol. It's true. No. By the way, it really is true. When you see guys stand up and willing to jump off the top of a balcony into people, I mean, you think they haven't had a couple of little shots of something up the arm? But assuming they weren't, I really believe if I sat and talked with them for 15 minutes, I would say, look, we're all in this, whether you're a Democrat, liberal, whether you're a conservative, Republican, we just want to make our country great. We want to take it back. We want to create jobs. We want to have a good living. We want to live well. We want wages to go up, but we want the wages to go up where you really earn them. You go out, you do a good job, you work, like the people in Iowa. And I really believe I could talk people, and you want to be able to have great education. You want to be able to end Common Core and create. You want to be able to protect our Second Amendment. We got to protect it. We've got to protect our Second Amendment. We're getting killed with the now they're talking about getting rid of bullets. You know, they're having a hard time with the gun thing. So they say, well, what we'll do is we'll look at the ammunition. We'll look at the bullets, and we'll get rid of the bullets. We got to protect our Second Amendment. You know, I was with a group from New York that's totally into like the gun control thing, and I'm the exact opposite. And Paris had happened, and 130 people were killed, and many more are going to die. You know, I have many people in the hospital that are really in bad shape. And these thugs went in, and that's what they are. And the press calls them the mastermind of the group. Mastermind. I call him the guy with the dirty hat. And I have been lecturing the press for 2 months. Don't ever use the term mastermind. He's not a mastermind. I guarantee he's got a very low IQ. He's just a thug. I call him, you know the guy with the dirty hat. Fortunately, he's dead now, so that's good. But the guy with the dirty hat. And you know, I haven't heard, in all fairness to the press, I haven't heard the term mastermind used again. It's really good. Because these kids are being taken and they're being radicalized over the internet. And they see these guys on television and they have the anchor saying, the mastermind of the group is now free and he's looking here and we're looking for him over in France and Germany. I say, why do they keep calling him a mastermind? They know nothing about him. Guaranteed low IQ. So he gets a few people in there. They all have guns, right? In Paris, you have the toughest gun laws in the world, they say, or among. And France, too. Nobody has a gun. You don't have guns. So what happens is these guys walk in with guns. Easy. If you want a gun, you get a gun. So they walk in with the top-of-the-line stuff, big, powerful weapons. And they say, boom, 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 boom. 130, many more are going to die. Okay. And I say to my friends, they're good people. They're not bad people. But they believe in gun control. I say, let me ask you a question. When they're shooting all these people and they're helpless because they have no weapons whatsoever, the guy is actually saying, next, get over here. Boom. Get over here. Boom. So horrible. Say, wouldn't it be great like a guy like that guy right there? If he had a gun, raise your hand. If he had a gun, a guy like that guy right there, okay, my man. If he had a gun, a woman like this or you, even though she's got a big Nebraska sweatshirt on, right? But wouldn't it be, think of it, wouldn't it be great if there were 4, 5, 6, 10 people carrying weapons in that room? You wouldn't have 130 people dead. You might have some, but you wouldn't have very many. And the dead ones would be the guys doing the shooting. So I do this argument, and I find it fascinating, because I argue in front of groups of people with these people. These are real militant people about guns. They can't win the argument. They're totally, they give up. They can't even, the argument's over like in a few minutes. So I said, did I convince you? No. I said, all right. So you're never going to convince them. We have to protect the Second Amendment. Just remember that. We have to protect it. We have to. We have to protect And I will protect the Second Amendment. My sons are members of the NRA for many years. They're great shots. I'm a member of the NRA, too. I'm not a great shot, actually, at all. But my sons are really into it, and they're members for years, and they hunt, and they do everything. But they love the NRA, and they understand the importance of guns. They understand the power of guns. And they also understand mental health. This is a mental health problem, and that's what we have to start talking about. This is a mental health problem. So when I went around, I would talk about all of these issues, and then Paris came about, and I started talking about what we have to do. And I came out very much against the Syrians coming in because there's this migration. Did you ever see anything like it? These are all young, strong people. These are men. And many of them, I said, first I'm looking, and I'm saying, that's a lot of people. Then you look, and you don't see very many women, and you don't see very many children. And then you see these guys are all young, and they're strong as hell, and you say, why aren't they back fighting for their country? And then you see a story like appeared, I don't know if you saw, 2 stories that appeared last week. One was that they stole a passport. ISIS, these are not stupid people. They stole passports, U.S. passports, and they stole the passport machine. They took the passport machine. That's one. The other is that many of these people on the line, and they were going into Norway, I believe, and they had cell phones. Now, this is immigration. Why do they have cell phones? I mean, who's paying their bill? What's going on? It's sort of strange, right? You know, think of it. In the migration, they have cell phones. Hey, how you doing? Do you want to go out tonight? What's going on? No, where do they get? Now, here's the problem. On the cell phones, they had, you saw this, the ISIS flag. They had horrible events on the cell phones, like beheadings and things. These are people that are in the migration. And we have this guy, Obama, that wants to let them in. This could be the great Trojan horse. You know what I'm talking about with this? This could be the great Trojan horse of all time. Of all time. And all you have to do is look at Germany. I mean, can you imagine? I was supposed to get Man of the Year, Person of the Year, right, from Time Magazine. I was on the cover a month ago, and it's an honor. It's Time Magazine, even though it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller all the time. There it is. Hey, hold that picture up. Look at that guy. What a great guy. Give me that picture. Can I have that picture? Just get it. Can you guys do me a favor? Give me that picture. Let me see it. Look at this picture. I was very proud of being on Time. I've been on there a number of times, but these are minor details. Oh. This one, who cares? Here. It's all right. Actually, I like that picture. I just didn't like the story. Look, Time Magazine. Here, Keith, give that back. I don't want to steal your picture. Give it back. But, so I was supposed to give it back. You can't steal it, Keith. He came here. I'll have to sign it for him later. But I was supposed to get, and everybody, all the pundits were sitting around, yeah, Trump gets it. Not that they were thrilled, but Trump gets it. And I said I won't get it, because I know how life works. They're not going to give it to me. And they gave it to Merkel. Take a look at what's happening in Germany. Angela Merkel, she's, head of Germany. They're pouring in the crime, the problems. I think it's horrible what they've done. And by the way, I have a bigger heart than everybody. I want to take a chunk, a big, fat, beautiful chunk of Syria, and I want to build a safe zone and let these people, because we got to help them. And we got to have, and we've got to have the Gulf states who have contributed nothing, in all fairness, nothing. These are immensely wealthy countries. They're not taking any. They've given very little money. They have to put up money. Folks, you got to put up the money. And we protect them. We protect them. You got to put up the money. And we have to do that because on a human basis, we have to do something. But the one thing I don't want them coming over here. We have enough problems over here. We have people. And, they start off with 10, and then they go to 25. And by the way, in the Democrat debate, I think they mentioned 56 or 66,000 people. They weren't talking about 10,000. You think it's going to stop at 10? It'll never stop, okay? It'll never stop. And then one day we may have a small army in here, or a big army in here. We may have a big army. It's genius. I mean, it's like genius. It's one of the greatest military strategies I've ever heard of. It truly is. It's going to make the old Trojan horse, that's peanuts compared to what they did to our country. We have to be vigilant. We have to be smart. We have to be sharp. We have enough problems. We have to rebuild our infrastructure. We have to rebuild our schools, our highways, our airports. We're like a third world country. We can't be doing these games. You've got people, they don't want to move to Minnesota and be 10 degrees below zero. They want to stay in their country. We're shipping these people all over the United States, and local governments, in all fairness, they're powerless to do anything. It's going to end. And everybody that we ship over, if I win, is going back. I'm sorry. No, I'm going back. They're going back. No, they're going back. And it sounds terrible to say, and I hate to say it, but they're going back. We don't know where they came from. There is nobody going to tell me they don't have papers, they don't have documents, they don't have anything. And I watch the experts, and I talk to the experts, and they come up to my office, and I ask them, top police people. They say there's absolutely no way to tell where these people came from. They don't have any documents. They have no documentation whatsoever. And then Obama, if you're from Syria, he takes Christians. You know how many he takes? None. We don't take Christians, right? We take only the Muslims. And you know what? Hey, that's the way it is, okay? But we don't take Christians. Now, the Christians, they're all in trouble over there. It's a hellhole. But the Christians are having their heads cut off. They're having their heads. We don't take the Christians. And if you're Christian, it's almost impossible to get into this country. But if you're Muslim, you can come in. And I have a great relationship with Muslims. I mean, I have many friends. I have friends that call me at a very high level, and they said, thank you, Donald, for what you've done. Because you're right, there is a problem, and we have to solve that problem. These are Muslims calling me. Some aren't so thrilled about it, I'll be honest with you. But these are Muslims that call me at a very high level, and they said, thank you, because you're bringing a problem to the fore. You're talking about something that has to be talked about. We do indeed have to do something. People knew that these two horrible people, she came in on a fiancé permit. Whoever even heard of it? Fiancé permit, some kind of an engagement permit. What the hell is that all about? And she was already radicalized, and whether she radicalized them or whether they were already radicalized. But they knew what was going on. The neighbors knew. They had stuff all over their apartment. They had bombs all over the floor. Nobody knew. So why didn't they call the police? Why didn't they call our great police, which I love? We're going to take care of our police, by the way. But why? These people knew there was something wrong. So I started off talking about trade and Obamacare and all that stuff. Believe me, I can do that stuff so easy. Just trust me, I can do it so easy. You're going to be so happy. At the end of a couple of years, you're going to say, wow, what a difference. It's going to be so good. Just rely. But it really ended up, and then I just see this, that the new CNN poll, ISIS. Who's number one with handling ISIS? Trump, 46%. No, think of it. Because they know I don't mess around. They know these politicians are all talk, no action. It's just all bullshit, okay? It's all bullshit. So, ISIS, Trump gets 46%. The rest of these people are down in like the low numbers. It's like, well, you have 46% and you have like 15 more left. How much is left for anybody else? So ISIS, I win. Illegal immigration, Trump, almost 50%. Think of it. Now, in the budget, I get 51%, but we sort of expect that. I'm good at that stuff. And the economy, I get 55%. I blow everyone away. Okay, but we know that. But what's happened is people want security. They want safety. And they know I don't play games. We're going to have safety. Make our country great again and safe again. People don't feel safe. I'll tell you what, you walk into your big cities now especially, they don't feel safe anymore. They don't feel safe. And they know we have people that shouldn't be in those positions. And they know we have leaders that they don't have it. They don't have it. So when I win this, I'm so honored when I see numbers like that. I'm just honored. And I will tell you, I will do a great job with safety. I'll do a much better job than anybody can do. I'll do a much better job. We're going to look for General Patton. We're going to look for General Douglas MacArthur. We have great people. We have great people. You know, we've gotten rid of a lot of our great generals because they were too tough, too crude. They spoke badly. They were really, I mean, one in particular, he's supposed to be phenomenal. He's supposed to be, but he uses foul language, okay? You know what would happen to General George Patton if we had him today? He wouldn't make the rank of corporal, okay? So we're going to find the General George Patton. We got him. You look at West Point, You look at the Air Force Academy, you look at the Naval Academy, we have unbelievable people. We've got to find the right, and I've always been good at finding people. I've always been good. When I see these guys go on television, our generals, they go on television. What the hell are they doing on television? I don't want my general. George Patton isn't going on television to say, well, you know, we're going to attack them from the front, and then we're going to attack them from the back, and then we're going to do this and that. And then it turns out to be true. And Obama announces, we're leaving Iraq on a certain date. I said, I didn't hear that, did I? We're leaving Iraq. How about that beauty? Now, look, I said we should never be in Iraq, and I always said it, and I'm the most militaristic person. I want to make our military so strong, so powerful, so big, so incredible, but we'll never have to use it. I don't want to use it. But if we do, people are going to know it's going to go over quickly. It's going to be a very, very tough time that they're going to have. We had General Ordiano the other day. He retired. He's on another show. And he shouldn't say this, honestly. He's retiring. But he said, our Army, I believe he said Army, is the least prepared that it's been in our history. Now, he may have said since the Second World War, but I think he said, I only want to refine it for these guys because I don't want them to say, well, he misspoke. It was the most unbelievable. He said the least prepared, I think from inception, but, you know, let's take it to the Second World War. Is that okay? The bottom line, we're not prepared. And we should be more prepared now than ever before because people like Hillary Clinton have done such a bad job. I mean, the entire world blew up during her term. Obama, the entire world has blown up. You look at this mess. But here's a guy says, we're leaving in 18 months, and gives a date. So here's the enemy. You know, believe me, they don't want to die so much. You know, you hear so much they want to die with the virgins and the this and the that. Believe me, if they can live, they'll live, okay? And they are very protective of their families. Remember I said that, okay? Very protective. It's very important because the families know what they're doing. You think their family doesn't know what they're doing? Their families know. But here's the thing. We have a situation where when something happens, we have to react. We have to be unpredictable. When Obama said, we're leaving on a certain date, I immediately said, watch, the enemy's going to go away, and they'll come back 18 months later. That's what happens. And also, because of the way we did things, and because of the fact that these so-called leaders who were corrupt as hell in Iraq shut out a certain segment of the people that was supposed to be a part of the peace, if you call it a peace, or some peace. That's where ISIS came from, folks. That's where ISIS came from. It's all stupidity. It's all leadership. Don't forget, I wrote a book in 2000 before the World Trade Center came down. I mentioned, right, surviving, well, I did a number of them before that, but just, I mentioned very specifically who? Osama bin Laden. I talked about Osama bin Laden because I saw this guy on television. I saw him in the papers, and he was a very threatening guy. And I talked about Osama bin Laden. And one of the anchors, Joe Scarborough, good guy, he said, wait a minute, Trump wrote about this guy before the World Trade Center came down. He was talking about Osama bin Laden. We need that thinking. We have to have the right thinking. And I said, don't go into Iraq. I didn't really believe the weapons of mass destruction, but I said, you know what, for years you had Iran and Iraq going like this. 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet, then they rest. Then another decade, 10 feet. This forever. They fought, they fight. That's what they do. I said, if you obliterate one of the two, in this case Iraq, what you're going to do is you're going to let Iran take over the entire Middle East. Now, who would have thought that we were going to help them by giving them $150 billion and all of that in the worst deal ever made, okay? Who would have thought that anybody could be so stupid to make that deal? Who would have thought that Kerry and Obama did not read The Art of the Deal? No, seriously, who would have thought it? We don't get anything. We don't get our prisoners back. Now, think of this. They just said last week, we are now going to start negotiations for the prisoners. What about why didn't they do this? You don't do this later? But they want a lot. They said, we want a lot. Can you believe this? All we had to do is go in, first thing, we want our prisoners back. They will say no. No, they'll say no. And then we'll say, that's okay, bye-bye, and you leave the room. You go back home, you double up the sanctions. Within 48 hours, they call you and they say, we'll give you your prisoners. That's the end of it. So simple. It's so simple. But can you believe that we go out and we make a deal and we give them everything? We got nothing. They're going to have nuclear. They don't even need to develop nuclear anymore. They can buy it. With $150 billion, you don't need you can buy the nuclear better than they'll ever make. Believe me. They'll buy it. $150 billion to a terrorist state, and a state that hates us. And they're saying during the negotiations that our people are stupid, that our negotiators are stupid, that we're making a great deal. If I'm making a deal, and I see a guy go out, and they're having lunch, and he's saying Trump is stupid, what a stupid deal. I don't care what deal it is, I'm not making it. It was so insulting. They're marching in the streets of all over Iran. They're marching in the streets of Iran. They're marching all over. And you know what they're saying? They're saying we love this deal. And they're celebrating. Before the deal is even over, their negotiator, who happens to be very good. I watched him on television, being interviewed by Charlie Rose. And I said, there's no way John Kerry can handle this guy. Slippery guy, very good negotiator. Look, he does a good job for his side. We have to change course with our country. And we're going to change course. And I'll tell you, the most important thing we're going to change, the most important thing I can tell you is this. It starts on February 1st. There are so many people back here that say that, you know, Trump gets the biggest rallies by far. But we don't know if those people are going to go caucus. We don't know where they're going to be. We think they're going to sit home, and we this and we that. And they all say, well, I agree that if they actually went out, Trump would win easily, Iowa. I hope that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen, because I will tell you, you will be so proud of me. You will be so proud of yourselves, and you will be so proud of our country. We will make our country great again. So February 1st, get out and vote. February 1st. Get out and vote. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.